Okay, the item there. Right, so you are writing the class Kangaroo, which has got 3 methods: init, put in pouch, and str. Since I have not told str, we will not deal with str right now. And the next 2 lines are creating 2 objects, adding the contents to it. Right? Suppose I don't pass 10, 20 here. Okay, what does the pouch contains now?
Empty list.
It's an empty list by default as an empty list. So you can see in row this clear. Any doubts you can ask me? No doubts? Okay, good attempt. Anybody else has done any other way apart from this? Any other way? Reply yes, no. Some reply should be there, right?
Same way, ma'am, I've also done.
You have also done the same way. Okay, fine. The slight change which you have to do, but anyways, that I will execute and then ask you what is that you are observing. So meantime, in today's class, I think today's assignment and yes, that is the Kangaroo assignment. Both we will discuss in the next class, right? So today I'll just finish off a little bit of your portions. Is my screen visible? Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So continuing with our module 4, the topic of classes and methods, we had covered how exactly or how we have to use methods, and I had told you about the self parameter in the previous class. So you all should know that self is a keyword or not a keyword. Is it a keyword? Self?
No, ma'am, it's not a keyword.
A keyword, but it is just a name given. It is a programming convention given by the Python programmers, wherein self is always the first parameter in the method. So when I tell method is defined inside the class. It's the first parameter, and self is a reference to which object? Self acts as a reference to which object? Invoking object, that means the object that invokes my method. That is the invoking object there. And we saw a special method init. So in exams, they will ask you, explain some of the special methods. So init is one of the special method, then followed with demo and assignment, which we had seen. So today's agenda, we will see one more important special method called as str method. Then I'll tell you about other important methods through the concept of operator overloading, then followed with the demo and the assignment. So before I go for str method, can anybody just tell me, if I ask you convert integer value, say 12 to string, what will you do? I want the integer value 12 to be converted to a string data type. Suppose say I have num equals to 12. Okay. So I want the num value which is having 12 to be represented as a string. What will you do? Which function will you use?
str of num.
Yes. So if I give str of num, right? So say I just execute it, you can just observe that. Sorry. You can just observe that now the num, which is an integer, now becomes what? What is this now for me?
String.
What is string? Yes. So 12 is now becoming a string to me. Similarly, suppose I want to convert some floating point values as 12.5. I again use a string. So str is a conversion function available that converts your int or your float to a string representation. That's all. Just a string means to say whatever data is there, that will be enclosed within a single quote or a double quote, right? Very simple as it is. Now, The same str function what I have, I'm applying it to this. So you all know that when I create classes and the objects or the classes when I create, they are all user-defined data types, isn't it? See now, even your num was also a data type, isn't it so? Which was a class. So if I give here type of num, isn't it? Suppose say I don't have this function. So type of num if I try to give, so definitely it gives me a thing so called as an int. So int, which is again now a class to me. Yes. So we all know that data types are classes. Similarly here, I have also created a user-defined data type. You can observe the user-defined data type here is now for me the class circle. Okay, user-defined and a programmer-defined data type. So whenever I create an object for that particular class, it is similar to a normal variable. It's an instance, isn't it? So I'm creating an instance of class circle. Okay. Now what will I do is, I will pass that instance to the method or sorry, the function that is str. Okay. So I want the string representation of my object of any class, not only circle, so any class which can take. Can anybody guess what would be the answer? What would be the answer? Will it give it in a different format, or what is the answer that I can get? String representation of any object. String representation of any object, students. What answer? Any idea? I have no idea. Students, are you all there? If no, no. If you feel there is some answer, you can tell. No idea about it? Nobody is there.
It will give the location, ma'am,
It will give the location. Okay, let's see.
in a string format.
Let me check whether you are. Yes, you can see it gave me the location exactly. You are right, Nirmal. In a string format. Very simple as it is. So the main circle object, which is the location, thus enclosed within a single code. Okay. Next, what I am doing is I am trying to print C1. Okay. So before I go for the execution, I just want to introduce an attribute so called as a radius to the circle, which gets initialized when the object is being created. Okay. So I want something like this. Now what should I write here? What method should I introduce? The radius the attribute radius should be initialized when the object is being created itself. So which method should I write inside the class definition? Students.
Init method.
Init method. So let me define the init method. How do I write the init method? Syntax, please.
Double underscore init and
Underscore init, then open brace. So any method you write, first argument should be what?
self.
Self. Then followed with the normal arguments. I have taken it as R. This is just argument. That's all. It is not the attribute. It's just an argument. I give it as 0.0, the default value. Okay. And what should I write here? I have to initialize the object with the attribute radius. What should I write? Answer, please.
Sense.radius equal to R.
Self dot radius equals to R. So if you have passed the argument, it will take that argument. Otherwise, the default value is 0.0. This is the thing. Okay. Now, again, I will execute this. That is string representation of my object. So what my intention is, when I give str of C1, my intention is I should get the contents exactly, isn't it? When I wrote str 12.5, I want the contents to be put in the single quote. Yes, that is what I am expecting here. So again, I will execute. But again, I find that it is the same. It gives me the location, which is in a string representation. Okay. I will do print C1. What do you, can you guess the answer again? Can you guess the answer? Print C1. When I am trying to print C1, does it print the contents of C1 or the location?
The location, ma'am.
Location. It simply prints the location. Can you observe? It is printing the location. But exactly what I wanted in both the scenarios is I wanted the contents of the object represented as a string. Contents of the objects represented as a string. But by default, neither the str worked for me, neither the print worked for me. So both gave me the location, right? And you all know that the print takes all the arguments in terms of string str, right? But I want something that deals with what I wanted it. So in order to deal with that particular task, the special method that is available is str underscore 2 underscores, which you should define it inside your class. Okay. So str method is a one which is to be defined inside your class, which returns the string representation of an object. Remember. So when I tell string representation of an object, it is giving me the contents of the object in terms of a string. Very important. Right? So if at all, if your class provides a method which is named as the str, it will override the default behavior of the Python built-in str. So if you give a class having the method str, so the function of str, the built-in function str I'm just talking about, that will be hidden by the method defined inside your class. So, right? So this str will not work for me. So it will work this double underscore str function will override the default behavior of the str function, which is built-in available. And the other thing which you should also know is when I print an object, so when I write print C1 or any object, when I try to print, it implicitly invokes this method. Implicitly, I'm telling you implicitly means simply if I write print, automatically the interpreter will call double underscore str, that str special method. It will automatically call. So therefore, when I define the special method str, the print behavior also will change. Why? Because when I write print, it has to print C1. When I write print C1 in the previous example, what we saw, it printed the location. But now it will not print the location, rather it will print the contents of the object, right? So how to define this? Okay, so let's see how do we define this. I have taken an example of the time class. Let's see. Okay, as you all know, time has three attributes: hour, minute, and second. So I want to print the time object. Okay, just see the syntax as usual. Def the 2 underscore str 2 underscore followed by it, and the first argument by default it should be what, students? Are you all there?
Yes, ma'am.
Self. By default it is self. So there is str will not take any more arguments. It's only one argument, that is self. That's all. See, init can take any arguments. Str takes only one argument, which is self. And this str method will return a value, and that returned value will be always of type
String.
Always of type string. So simply just look at the next line which I have just written. Return, the keyword return, and I have to create a string of that time representation. So what I took is, I took the string format operator. Okay, see, I wrote how I want formatted, %.2d. So this is put in a single quotes. Can you observe? %.2d colon %.2d colon %.2d colon. today, that's all, ended with a semicolon. Sorry. What is that? Single quotes. Then the string operator. So this 2D should be the hour first, self.hour, then self.minute, self.second. Remember, this is now a string. It returns a string containing the hour, minute, and the second of the invoking object. So which is the invoking object for me? The object which you are trying to print. That is my invoking object, right? Suppose if I have written this code in my time class and I create a time object like this and print time. So what do you expect the answer now? So what will happen when I call print, students? What does it call? Implicitly, which method it will call? Implicitly, which method does it call?
Double underscore str.
Double underscore str, and the argument is now what to me in this case? Parameter or the argument, whatever you tell, is what?
Time.
Time. Now, can anybody guess what is the answer when I try to print time in this case? Guess, does it give me the location?
09:45:00.
Yes. 09:45:00, because I would have given the default value for seconds as 00. So remember, see now, just try to understand. Since you define the method str, each and every time calling the function print is avoided. Yes or no? Do you all agree with that? Print function. Earlier you had print function, isn't it? So you had to call print t1.print or t2.print, right? So each time you had to call the function. Now that is avoided. Directly you can write your programming way style. Print time t1, print t2, like that. So your task of having one method for printing can be avoided each and every time calling it by using the method, the special method so called as str. Is that clear, student? Yes? Yes, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now let us design circle the method. Just tell me what should I write here now. If at all my print C1 had to give me the radius or whatever it is, what should I write? Which method should I define here? Which method?
Str.
str, and str always takes one single argument, which is self. Okay. Yes. Tell me what should I do here? It should always return. str must and should return. So what will I write here? First, return
Self.radius.
Okay, you want self.radius. Remember, my str always returns by default string. Do you think self.radius is a string or some other data type?
It's float, ma'am.
It's float. So you cannot give
Self.
this as the return value. Remember, str always returns a string value. So what should I do?
str of self.radius.
Okay, so one way. So you people suggested me str of self.radius. Let's see whether it works for us. Yes, you can see when I gave str of C1, rather than printing the location, it printed me the radius values in terms of a string. Similarly, if I give print, okay, for example, I give a radius of C1, okay, C1 is fine, fine. What is the answer now in this case? Print radius of C1 is C1. What does it print? Quickly. Students. What does it print? Does it print me the location or the radius value? Are you all there? Students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, what does it print in this case?
The radius, ma'am.
the radius. Let us see what is the answer. Can you observe the answer here? Radius of C1 is 12.4. Now it never gave me the location. Why? Because when I tried to write the print statement, implicitly it invoked the function, sorry, the method str. So some of you suggested that ma'am convert it to str, right? The other way what I would like to follow is using the string operator, string format operator. Can I write like this? Return %G. So %G is used for floating point values. %G, the operator, that is the string format operator, so called as percentage self dot radius. So if I write like this, automatically it will be a string. So I need not have to write str, right? Yes or no, students? Can I write this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So let me execute here the same. I'll just take this and put it there. Okay. Execute. You can see radius is equal to 5.9. So either ways, see, you can see how to convert it to a string. It's left to you. You can do it. Okay. Is that clear, students? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let me, give you the visualization of the same. Carefully just look into it. When I call print, so where does the control go here? So where does the control go explicitly? Where does the control go here explicitly? Sorry, implicitly. Implicitly, where does the control go when I try to print the radius?
To str.
To str. Let us see whether it is there. So here implicitly it will call which method? First line. Which method? Implicitly init. And sorry, you should always use the method names in this way only. Okay. This will implicitly call str. Let's see whether it is the same. Okay. Just look into the execution portion. Is that visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So you can see circle, which has two methods, init and str, and the function. See, when it is represented, method is also a function, no problem. Having the default arguments. Okay. So when I go for the object creation, automatically the control, you can observe this, which is on line 10, the arrow mark jumps to line 4. You can see. Yes or no? Did you see that? Yes, you can see earlier it was on line 10, it moves to line 4 init. Okay, so the two tasks of the constructor you should know. Similarly, the two tasks of init is it should create an object, initialize it, and assign to the object, whichever is there. Right, so you can see it creates an object. All right, self is pointing to a object. So radius, which is value of 5.9, goes down. So you can now C1 is the reference to a radius with 5.9. Then print radius C1. So when you give the statement print radius C1, what happens? Which function does it call? Which method?
STR method.
str. So the red arrow, which is at line 11, will shift to which line?
7.
7. Let's see whether it moves to 7. Yes, moves to 7. Yes, then it will return the string representation of my object. Then you can see now the return value of str. See, the self is pointing is a reference to the invoking object, that is C1 here, and return value is 5.9, which is in terms of string. It should be in terms of string always, and then it prints radius 5.9. Is that clear, students? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So that's about the str method, which you should know. Fine. The next is about the operator overloading, right? So you people know operator overloading. Any idea? Any idea?
When an operator can be used in multiple ways.
Okay, fine. Let me give you an example here itself. Say I have this only the object, say C2 equals to circle 3.1. Okay, I am just writing this. Okay, what I did is I just created two objects of circle. I just printed the radius. Okay, it is possible because I have str. Then I did this. What did I do here? What did I do? I am trying to add two objects of circle, C1 plus C2, which is stored in C3. Is this possible? Can I make my plus operator to work on objects? Plus works on what all, students?
Numbers and strings.
Numbers, floats, int, float, then it works on strings, yes, and it works on list concatenation, tuple concatenation, all those it will work. But I think I have never told that the plus will work on objects of user defined data types or user defined classes. So definitely when I try to execute this, you can see there is an error called as a type error. Why is because the type error is stating that unsupported operand types for plus. So plus has got two operands which is of type circle, wherein it has not been defined, right? But I still somehow want this to happen. What I can do is I can overload plus operator, mean to say I can give a meaning added to the plus operator, an extra meaning such that it adds two objects of circle, right? The two objects of circle can be added. So how do I do that? Is through operator overloading. So we can add a new meaning to my built-in operators such that they are applied to the user-defined data types. Okay, and changing the behavior of an operator. So operator now plus was working only on int, float, string, list, tuple, but no more it worked on my class objects of circle, isn't it? But I'm trying to add a new behavior such that it works, and that process is called as what, students? Operator overloading. See, the name only indicates an operator will have overloaded work, an extra work to be done. Okay. One second. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so adding a new functionality to the operator is now called as an operator overloading with respect to programmer defined types. Okay, so how do we do this? Again, we have to define some special methods, remember. So you have to define certain special methods. Okay. So what are the special methods? We will see. So one example which I am is giving here is, if you want to overload plus operator for any class, okay, so you have to write a special method called as that is followed and prefixed with 2 underscores. So like this, for every operator, there is a special method available, right? Are you understanding? And these methods will have 2 arguments based on the operators. So most of the time it is a binary operator. So binary operator will have how many operands? How many operands? Yes. How many operands a binary operator will have? Okay. So the add method, what you are now writing, will have again 2 parameters, where the first parameter is the object on which the method is invoked. So the first parameter is always named as I told you, is named as what? The self, first parameter. And the second parameter is named as other. So just remember this convention. So when you are overloading an operator overloading method, right? The first argument is your left hand operand, that is self. The next argument I give it as other, which is my right hand operand. Are you understanding? Hope so I am clear. We'll see with an example, then it will be clear for you all, right? So I told you special methods which are available. See, one I gave, plus is add. See, it takes 2 parameters, self and other. Remember, self is LHS operand, other is RHS operand. Understanding? Yes, sir, students? Yes or no?
Understanding.
Yes,
Okay. Similarly, for minus, we have sub. For star, that is multiplication, we have mul. Division, we have true division. Floor division or integer division, we have floor div. So you can see the methods which are readily available. You should use these methods to overload the operators. Very important. Similarly, we have the comparison operators, less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, double equals to, not equals to. Yes, so you can see again the names are quite different here. LT, GT, and this is all lowercase. Yeah, here it is in uppercase, but it is lowercase. LT stands for the method overloading less than operator. GT, greater than operator. Similarly, LE, less than, equal to, greater than or equal to, equals, not equals. So you should use these methods to overload the operators. Are you understanding? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, quickly, we will just write the method for adding. Can anybody tell me what method should I define here? Which method for adding? Which method should I add? Which method should I write here?
Add method.
Underscore, add, underscore. What is my first argument?
Self.
What is the next argument?
Other.
Okay, so you can give anything, yeah, but this is a programming convention. So when I write such a statement here, the interpreter will do it like this. C3 is equal to C1 dot, it implicitly calls which method? Add method, like this. Can you see now? C3 is equal to C1. What is C1 to me? What operand it is? What operand? C1 is which operand? LHS or RHS?
LHS.
LHS. That C1 becomes what object?
Self.
Invoking object, which is referenced by self. What is C2?
Right operand.
That will be passed as a parameter, and that is referenced by other. Are you understanding? Yes or no, students?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay, now I should add the 2 circle objects. Mean to say what? I should add their radius. Okay. So what should I do? When I add, I should get an object only. So what should I do first here? In idea. What should I do?
Create a new object.
New object. Okay, create a new object. What I'll do? Okay, res I'll create. Res is equal to circle. Correct? So this is a new object for me, which holds my result. Yes? Okay. Next, what should I do? I should now add the radius of those two objects and store in the radius of res. So what should I write, students? Res dot, what should I write?
Radius.
Res dot radius is equal to, now C1 is referenced by which parameter?
Self.
Self. C2 is referenced by which parameter?
Other.
Other. Very good. So what should I write now here?
Self dot radius plus other
Self
dot
dot radius. Then Brivik, what should I write here after that? Self dot radius. Someone tell me. Plus
Other dot radius.
other dot radius. See, try to understand, you can give any names here, but this is a programming convention which you should follow. That's all. Okay. Then addition is done. What should I do next?
Return res.
Yes, very simple as it is. Okay. Now you can expect the answer. What? What is now C3 containing? The resultant circle object with a radius of how much? 9.1?
9.3.
9.3, sorry. Let us see whether it works. Yes, can you see? It is working. So, implicitly when the interpreter sees this, it will call the add method, and this conversion is made by the interpreter, remember. Then only it can invoke this method. If it doesn't do such conversion, it cannot invoke this. Are you understanding, students? Are you understanding? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
We see the execution portion of the same. One second. I'll just copy this. See the flow. How exactly, whatever I said, whether it is the same. Okay. I'll just quickly move. I want to show you. You can execute and see how exactly it will look. But I just want to show you the addition part. Yes. C3 is equal to C1 plus C2. Now it is at line 19. Where does the control jump to? Line number. Control jumps to which line number? Students.
10.
10. Automatically. See, this is a conversion which is made. The interpreter will convert it in this way and it moves to the line 10. Just see the red arrow now. Yes, line 10. Okay. And just see the self and other. See, self is pointing to which object, ma? I mean, it is a reference to which object? Say, C1. Similarly, you see other is a reference to which object?
C2.
Whatever is said, it is correct. That's what I just want to tell you that. Okay, whatever we thought or whatever we learned is correct. That's what it is doing, right? Then it creates a new object, res, okay, by calling the init method and all. So res object is created with a radius value of 0. Then it will add the radius to 9.3, comes back and prints the radius. Can you see the answer? Yes or no, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So, I will reduce this 3 lines of code, okay, to a single line. Just see. This also you can do. It's possible. Return a single line. I will just do it. Just observe what I try to do. Circle self dot radius plus other dot radius. Can I do this? What do you think? This will work. It will definitely work. But how? How does it work? What does it do? First, what will it do, students? It will take self dot radius, adds with other dot radius. Okay? That value with the circle. I'm calling the function. So when do I call a function, what happens? If I call a function, what am I trying to create? I'm creating when I call a function, when I call the, class, what am I trying to create? Object. So here also I am creating the object, right, with the value of radius, which is summation of self dot radius plus other dot radius. And this object, what I am now creating is a nameless object. Nameless object, right? It is a nameless object. It doesn't have a name. So earlier we had C1, C2, but this doesn't have a name. It's a nameless object which will be referred by C3 when it is returned. Yes, this will also work. See, if you feel that this is confusing, you can follow the other method also, no problem. But wherever required, we will try to minimize the length of the code. That is a specialty of Python, isn't it? Let's see whether it works. I'll just quickly run that till I reach add method. Okay. Add. See what will happen. See what does it happen? Return. You see what happened? It added the radius, okay, and it called the constructor, and the constructor here is the init method, right? It called the constructor, which is the init method, wherein it is now creating an object, right, referred by self. So it creates the object. Can you see? It now created an object whose radius value is 9.3, right? It is referenced by self. Then the return value is now a nameless object. It doesn't have a name. Earlier, the return value was my RES, but now here it is a nameless object. Yes. Yes. Same answer we get. Is that clear? Is it clear, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I will do this. I want to overload less than operator. Can anybody tell me what should I do? Which method should I write, students? Less than.
LT.
LT. Okay. Again, it's a binary which takes 2 arguments, and you all know that the return value of less than is what value? Less than return value is what? What does it return when I compare 2 entities? Less than. True or?
False.
Boolean value. So return. So what should I compare, students? I'm comparing the radius. Return self dot radius. What should I write? Students. Just compare the radius. That's all. The return value will be sent. True or false. What should I write here?
Less than.
Less than what?
Other dot radius.
Radius. So it will compare the radius of the 2 objects, C1 and C2, referred by self and other. It returns the respective Boolean value, where provided which is less than. Now, can anybody guess what is the value of C3 now? C3 is false. Let us see whether I get the same. Yes, the value is false. Why? Because radius of C1 is 5.9, C2 is 3.4. Okay. Suppose say I want to change it to greater than. What should I write here?
G.
GT. Right? Instead of this, I will write this. Right? So yeah, it will return what value for me in this case?
Value true.
Yes. So like this, you can overload any operators which I have stated here. Right? You can see this operators also. These are compound assignment operators, plus, equals. So names are different. I sub, I add, I mul. See, many methods are there available which you can do. You can even overload unary operators, right? Using the methods there. Any doubts, students? Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I've taken a simple example. Can anybody guess what am I trying to do here? What am I trying to do? Simple example. Just tell me how it works. We will discuss later. Just tell me what am I trying to do? Student. What am I trying to do? What is the motto of this program or the aim of the program?
To add the coordinate.
First, what are you creating? You're creating class called as a point. Just got two attributes, that is the x coordinate and the y coordinate. You have init method, you have str method, special methods. Along with that, add method. So what does add incorporate for me? Incorporate what?
Addition of two.
2 point objects. So when I tell to add 2 point objects, you should add the respective x coordinates, y coordinates. Yes, so there's a single statement here. Can you observe? Return point. See, this will work. This way of writing will work provided you give init properly. Otherwise, this will not work. Remember, if you don't give init, okay, this will not work. Remember, right? If you don't give this init and all properly, this will not work. Then you should go for the normal way of coding. You should have given init properly. Then only this will work. Yes. If I don't give, I don't want this. The normal way, how we will do? How we will do the normal way? First, what should you do, students?
We have to add the read function.
You have to add the. How do you do this? Normally.
Read function.
No. Adding I am talking about. If you don't give the init method, then how would you perform this operation? That single line you cannot write.
P1.x plus P2.x.
P1.x plus P2.x. What I mean, sorry, self.x plus other.x. Self.y plus other.y. You should store it in the respective x and y of the resultant object. Then return the resultant object. Whatever I did for circle, the same way. Yes. Okay, try doing it. Tomorrow we will discuss this assignment questions to other programs also. So the assignment question goes like this. Create a class called as a complex and add two complex numbers. So try to understand. Complex class you should create, which has got two attributes. What are the two attributes? Two attributes for complex class. Students.
Real and imaginary.
Real and imaginary. I want you to write init. Okay. I want you to write str and two operator overloading functions, add and subtract. Now, no concept of writing read, no concept of writing print. Forget about that. So you have to follow init and str. So to overload add, which method you should write? Which
Add method.
add underscore followed and prefixed with underscores, 2 underscores. For subtract,
Underscore sub.
sub. Okay. Similarly, we have another class called as a rectangle class. So again, rectangle class, how many attributes? Length and breadth. Okay, that is length and width, whatever you assign it. So I want you to overload greater than operator that checks whether the area of the first rectangle is greater than the second. That is my motto. I'm not checking length is greater or width is greater. No, area. First compute the areas and check whether the areas are greater. Yes. Then these two are operator overloading. This is normal program using init and methods. Just you can go through these programs. Is that clear, students? Any doubts? Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Take a snapshot of this. I will share it. I have a meeting now. After that, I will just share it in the group. Meantime, you can just go through it. Okay. Fine. No doubts. I will just put for you all. Is operator overloading allowed in Python?
Yes.
Yes. What do you mean by operator overloading? Adding a new meaning to the existing operator. Remember, existing. So you cannot create your own operators. No. Okay. Just give me the answer yes or no. Suppose say I have defined a method to overload plus operator for circle class. Can I add 2 point objects? Yes or no? For circle, I have defined the method add. Can I add 2 point objects? Students, are you all there? Students,
Yes, ma'am.
tell me, if I have defined method add for circle, try to understand. Understood. Can I add 2 point objects? Students, tell yes, no. Huh? Yes or no? I have defined operator overloading for circle. Can I add 2 point objects? No? No, students? I'm not answering only, I'm not getting. If I've defined the method add in circle, I can add which objects? Which objects can I add?
Objects of class circle.
Class circle. I cannot add objects of point. That's not possible. Wherever you want, you should implement the methods. Okay. To perform operator overloading, we should write special methods. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. What are the special methods for any two operators?
Add, sub, greater than, less.
Less than, like that. So you have several methods. So special methods will begin and end with what?
Underscores. Double.
How many? Double underscores. Okay. The remaining we will see it in the next class. Thank you, students. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.